In today's video, I want to talk about the most useful skills that I've learned over the last few years when it comes to building my own consulting business and projects like the Unicorn Factory. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Connor, and on this channel I help people who cannot code build online platforms with no-code tools like Webflow, Airtable, and Zapier. But in this video today, I want to go a bit beyond the no-code space and talk about a few skills that I've learned over the last few years that have been incredibly useful to building up my own consulting business, setting up platforms like the Unicorn Factory and growing them, and they are definitely skills that I'd look into if you are thinking about setting up your own business. So the main reason why I wanted to make this video today is because most of the videos that I make on this channel are all about building a product, using no-code tools to quickly whip up prototypes of your business idea, but just learning how to build a product only gets you so far. And when I look at things like the Unicorn Factory, not mentioning all the other skills that I've learned along the way that have helped me grow it, doesn't really paint the full picture. So what I wanted to do in this video today is just outline some of the key skills that I have used to also build up my consulting business and to build up the Unicorn Factory. So before I get into it, there are two quick things that I want to say about the different skills that I'm going to be mentioning in this video. Firstly, you don't need to become a specialist in every single one of these skills, but I do think it's very important to have a good basic understanding of different areas of your business, because that will make it a lot easier for you to find and hire the right people to do the work for you. The second thing is understanding certain types of areas of your business take priority at different stages of your business. For example, if you are looking to become better at raising money for your business, then that might be more important when you are already at the stage where your business is generating revenue and you're kind of ready to grow the business. That is definitely not something that you need to learn first if you're just getting started out, if you're still researching different types of ideas. So definitely keep that in mind when I start listing off all of these skills. And then lastly, if you haven't already, quickly subscribe to the channel. Also smash that like button, it helps a lot. But without further ado, let's just get into it. So the first skill is Facebook advertising. Now that was probably the one skill that has made me most money, and it also gave me my start as a freelancer. Now besides being able to actually make quite a decent amount of money even today off being a paid advertising expert, it is also an incredibly useful skill to learn if you are planning on setting up your own business like I did with the Unicorn Factory. Now the main reason why I'd have a look into paid advertising is because oftentimes when you are about to launch your platform, it just takes too much time to build up organic channels like SEO or social media marketing, and being able to use paid advertising basically just allows you to find out a lot quicker whether or not you're going to be able to get traction with your business. Another thing is using paid advertising is a really great way to quickly test your messaging with the market. It's a great way to see what kind of audience resonate most with what you're doing, and it can really set the foundations of the direction that you'll take with your product going forward. So having a good understanding of paid advertising was crucial to getting the Unicorn Factory off the ground. I was able to utilize the skills that I already had to really start getting more freelancers onto the site. It was a lot easier for me to promote the Unicorn Factory to businesses, and that allowed me to get traction and create transactions between the freelancers and the clients a lot faster, which then really put me in a position where I could establish myself as the go-to marketplace for freelancers in New Zealand. So nowadays I don't really do a lot of my own paid advertising anymore. I outsource it to freelancers on the Unicorn Factory, but it's definitely a skill that I would definitely look into learning, because as soon as you get an understanding of how paid advertising works, you just start picking up so many additional skills. For example, copywriting, for example, how to pick your audiences. So it's an incredibly useful skill to learn, and I highly recommend checking it out. So the next skill that I learned that I felt was very, very useful was learning how to build basic marketing websites. Now, obviously you've been on this channel before, so you'll know that I mostly use Webflow to build my marketing sites, but really what tool you end up choosing to build your websites is not that important at all. Now, as a non-technical founder, I definitely think that you should have a basic understanding of how you can spin up basic landing pages for your business. First of all, it gives your developers, if you're working with them, a little bit of breathing room to focus on the actual app that they're working on. And secondly, it just makes your marketing a lot more agile, meaning that as soon as you launch your platform and you start getting feedback from the market, you'll be able to implement changes to, for example, your copy on your website, certain types of layouts a lot faster without having to rely on developers. Another thing is building marketing websites these days is definitely not as hard as it used to be. So if you, for example, want to learn how to build a marketing website in Webflow, there are so many resources out there, for example, different YouTube channels or Webflow University. And I feel like if you're starting from zero, it might take you a month to to month and a half to get comfortable with how Webflow works, and you'll be in a position where you'll be able to spin up your own marketing website without a problem. So definitely check it out. So next up we have sales, and sales is one of those things that I feel people push to the wayside, especially when they're starting their business, for a few different reasons. One of the main reasons is that it is quite uncomfortable putting yourself out there for the first time and basically asking people to pay you for certain types of services and really establishing the value of what you're doing. And another reason is how sales is portrayed in the media. Now, if you've watched a movie like The Wolf of Wall Street, that is essentially how people in society view sales oftentimes. And oftentimes you have the picture of this sleazy salesman who's trying to sell you whatever garbage at all costs, whether it benefits you or not, only for their own pure financial gain. And that is oftentimes something that people do not want to become. And in order to avoid becoming that person, they just tend to avoid the entire area of sales completely. But if you are going to start a business, there is going to be no way around sales. And if you want to get good at sales, you're going to have to approach learning sales like any other skill. So I spent quite a bit of time and money learning how to get better at sales. I did a whole bunch of different courses, and I can tell you right now, whether you are an extroverted or an introverted person, learning how to get good at sales is really something that can be learned. You don't have to be a charismatic person from the outset. It's just basically learning a framework that you can go and use whenever you're having a conversation with a person one-on-one. A lot of the courses that I took were very focused around sales and consulting, but a lot of those learnings can be applied to a whole bunch of different areas. So if you have never looked into sales before, then I highly recommend checking it out. So the next thing that I learned that I felt was an absolute game changer was how to use tools like Zapier and Integromat. Now, obviously automating day-to-day workflows is something that will save you a lot of time. What learning these tools actually taught me was how to think in systems and how to actually put systems in place into your business that allow you to take on more customers, that allow you to scale up your business without having to invest more time and money at the same time. So the reason why this is important is because whether you're running something like the Unicorn Factory or your own consulting business, if you start to gather steam for your business, you're eventually going to get to the point where you're going to run into certain types of bottlenecks. So the most common bottleneck that I think a lot of people run into when they just start out a business is not being able to take on additional clients because they don't have enough time in the day to do sales and fulfilling the work and doing all the marketing type of things. So one thing that you can do in order to free up that time is to put systems in place that A, either allow you to automate it, or B, allow you to outsource the work. Systems thinking is not that easy though when you're just getting started in business, but one way that I found that I got a lot better at it is learning how to use tools like Zapier and Integromat, because what you're doing there is you're basically visually building these systems that allow you to automate certain types of tasks and workflows that otherwise clog up time in your calendar on a day-to-day basis. So I definitely think that even if you're just getting started out and you're not quite sure where to get started with things like system thinking, is to just learn how to automate certain types of workflows of things that you're doing in your business on a day-to-day basis that free up time from you. And from there, it will become a lot easier to visualize what other areas of your business need improvement. And if you can't automate it with a tool like Zapier or Integromat, you can just start outsourcing the work to people. And that brings me to my next point, which is hiring and subcontracting. Now, this is a skill that I am still trying to get a lot better at. I am already at the point where I'm outsourcing a lot of my client work to some of the freelancers on the Unicorn Factory, but it is definitely something that took me way too long, and it is definitely something that I need to get a lot better at as well. Now, I oftentimes see that as a struggle that a lot of people have that are in business, because it is quite uncomfortable to let go of control of your business. But again, if you want to take your business and scale it up, you are not going to be able to do everything all by yourself. So some of the things that I've learned about hiring and subcontracting to other freelancers is that if you find the right type of freelancer, it can be an absolute life changer. So I have found a few people who are really good at Webflow and a whole bunch of other skills, and I subcontracted some of that work to them. And not just were they able to do the work for me and take that workload off my plate, they actually did the work a lot better than I could have done, and that allowed me to deliver even more value to my clients. So another big reservation that I think a lot of people had, and I definitely had as well, was the financial commitment that comes with hiring people. Now, obviously, when you're just getting started off, you might not be in a position where you are able to make that commitment, but a really great place to get started is to actually just outsource that work to freelancers on a contract basis, meaning that the cost of hiring someone actually just becomes a variable cost that only increases as you use them more often. So there are a few tips that I have for anyone thinking about hiring their first freelancer. First tip is hire off the Unicorn Factory. We have the absolute best people. You don't get charged, you can just email them, they'll get in touch with you, schedule a time, it's all pretty straightforward. Second tip, the best clients who hire freelancers through the Unicorn Factory have all one thing in common, and that is that they are very good at writing clear project descriptions. They know exactly what they're after, they know exactly what skill set the freelancer requires, and they know exactly what kind of experience and rates they're working with. Being clear with what you are after makes it a lot easier for you to attract the right type of freelancers for a site like Unicorn Factory. As soon as you get to the point where you're attracting the right people, you don't have to sift through a whole bunch of different applicants who might not be a good fit from the outset. And then as soon as you have your shortlist of potential freelancers that you want to work with, then it's about asking good questions on a one-on-one call with them. Now, this again is something that a lot of our best customers on the Unicorn Factory do. They just ask really good questions. And now again, interviewing is something that is a skill that can be learned. There are heaps of books on the matter, but what it really comes down to is having a good idea of what the type of freelancer is that they are. Are they someone that needs a lot of direction? Are they someone that can kind of think for themselves and develop it for you? And kind of aligning it with what you think would work best for the type of project that you're working on and the type of business that you want to run. And then the last skill that I learned that I felt was incredibly useful to running a business was learning how to do accounting and cash flow management. Now this one's a bit of a funny one because I actually went to university and studied economics and finance, and one of the courses that I took was accounting, and let's put it this way, I wasn't very good at it at all. But after a year of running my business, I came to the realization that understanding accounting and understanding how cash flow works inside of your business is probably one of the most crucial skills to learn. So there were two things that really helped me get a good understanding of how accounting and bookkeeping works. The first one was learning how Xero works. So a friend of mine set me up with Xero when I started my business, and if you don't know, Xero is accounting software from Wellington, New Zealand that basically helps you do all of your bookkeeping. Now in Xero, you'll get a good understanding of what things are like assets and liabilities. You'll get an understanding of how your cash flow works, and you'll just get a really good understanding of the basics. And then the other way that I learned a lot about how to manage the finances in my business was just to hire really good accountants. So if you hire good accountants, they'll be able to help you get a good understanding of how the cash flow works for your business specifically, and they'll also be able to give you certain strategies that will allow you to make a lot better decisions when it comes to prioritizing certain parts of your business. So at the end of the day, the most important thing about diversifying your skill set and getting a good understanding of all the different areas of your business is because sooner or later you'll realize that all of these areas are interconnected to each other, and whatever decisions you make in the accounting department of your business will in a way affect the product side of your business or the marketing side of your business. So having a good basic understanding of the most fundamental things of each area of your business will really allow you to make way better decisions. But that is it. Those are probably the 6 most useful things that I have learned since starting my own business. They have contributed the most to me growing it to the stage that it is now, and I am very glad that I invested the time and the money to get good at all of those things. Now it goes without saying that there are probably a whole bunch of other skills that I haven't even mentioned in this video. I feel like what skills you end up learning is very much dependent on your business, but if you feel like there is a certain type of skill that I didn't mention in this video and that is crucial to know for first-time founders, then please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always keen to learn new things. Other than that, thank you very much for sticking around for this entire video. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to make more videos like this, then please like this video. Other than that, I'll see you back here for the next one.